Hello, friends, and welcome back to another virtual story time with Miss Liz. Yesterday, Wednesday, January 27th, was Holocaust Remembrance Day. January 27th is a day where we are urged to remember the millions of victims of Nazism and hatred that lost their lives during the Holocaust. Today, I chose a book that features a prominent figure in history related to the Holocaust, as well as a prominent figure in history relating to civil rights and social justice. You may know both of their names, but did you know that they were born in the very same year? This book talks about how the lives of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank are very similar. Let's read it together. This book is called Martin and Anne, the Kindred Spirits of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank. This book was written by Nancy Churnin and illustrated by Yevgenia Nayberg. Martin and Anne, the Kindred Spirits of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank. In 1929, two babies were born on opposite sides of the ocean. They never met. They didn't even speak the same language, but their hearts beat with the same hope. On January 15th, 1929, Martin's father, mother, and older sister beamed at their beautiful baby in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. And on June 12th, 1929, Anne's father, mother, and older sister cooed at their beautiful baby in Frankfurt, Germany, which is in Europe, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. But not everyone thought Martin and Anne were beautiful. When Martin was old enough to go to school, he had to go to a different one than his best friend because his skin was dark. That was the only reason. Even worse, his friend stopped playing with him. Martin's skin hadn't changed, but suddenly his friend cared where he hadn't before. That made no sense. And when Anne was ready for school, Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party, was elected to lead Germany. Jewish children, like Anne, were no longer allowed in public schools. Anne's family fled Germany for Holland, but when Hitler invaded Holland, anti-Jewish laws soon followed. Anne's school closed its doors to her, and suddenly her friends didn't want to play with her anymore. Do you see how even worlds apart, they are dealing with some of the same problems? Everywhere Martin went, he saw signs that said, "Whites only." He wasn't welcome in public parks or swimming pools or restaurants. Martin did not think that was fair. And everywhere Anne went, she had to wear a yellow Star of David that let people know she was Jewish. She couldn't buy ice cream or go to a movie. Every day, more signs blared, "No Jews allowed." Her father couldn't sell to non-Jewish customers, and Nazis even burned books by Jewish authors. How do you think Martin and Anne must have felt seeing signs that said they weren't allowed to go certain places and do certain things? I don't think it felt very good. When Martin was 13 years old, he won a speech competition talking about Black and white children playing together in harmony. He wondered if the right words could one day change unfair laws. Look at him up there on stage speaking. He does look very powerful, doesn't he? When Anne was 13, she got a diary for her birthday. She was happy she could share her most private thoughts with Kitty, the name that she gave to her journal. But soon after she began writing, Jews were rounded up and sent to death camps. Anne and her family hid in the attic over her father's business. They had to be very quiet. They couldn't go outside. Trapped in the attic, Anne described how beautiful the world outside was and how light could brighten the deepest darkness. Martin finished high school at age 15. Most colleges were for whites only, so he went to Morehouse College, a school for Black students. There, he learned about the Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi and how he won rights for his people using peaceful protests. Could the same thing work in America? Martin decided to become a minister who would lead his people to stand up for justice. And Anne, still hidden in the attic, continued her studies as best she could. And every day she wrote in her diary for her dreams about a better world. Even with all the hate around her, Anne believed that people were really good at heart. When Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her bus seat to a white man, Martin, now a minister, organized protest marches. He gave speeches. He told people not to ride the buses until everyone was treated fairly. Martin shared his dream of a world where all were truly considered equal, and his words gave people courage and strength. While Martin grew older, Anne's 15th year was her last. The Nazis stormed Anne and her family's hiding place. They arrested her family and the friends hiding with them. Anne's diary was left behind, pages scattering on the floor of the dusty attic. But she still believed in the power of simple acts of kindness. Martin won the Nobel Peace Prize when he was 35. He worked with President Lyndon Johnson to help pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964. At last, those ugly whites-only signs were against the law. Only a few weeks before their concentration camp was liberated, Anne died along with her older sister. She would have been amazed that her diary, rescued by a family friend, became a bestseller. Her father, the only one in her family to survive the camps, had her book published. Actors performed her words on stage and film. The cramped rooms where she hid in Amsterdam became a museum dedicated to speaking out against hate. When Martin was 39, he was shot and killed by a man who didn't believe Black people deserved the same rights as white people. But no one could kill the way Martin inspired others. Just as Anne's words will never die. Martin and Anne were born in different places, but they both dreamed that one day all babies would be seen as beautiful, as all babies are. Look at all these parents and families having fun together. Love is stronger than hate. Kindness can heal the world. That is what Martin and Anne believed. They were very different and very far apart, but they show that belief in the good can leave a lasting impression for us all. And that, my friends, is the end. If you check this book out from the library, you can see a timeline of Anne and Martin's lives and the very important things they accomplished. I hope you enjoyed our book today, Martin and Anne, The Kindred Spirits of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank. I appreciate you spending time to read this book with me and think about some difficult things that have happened, things that continue to happen. And I hope that you will join me in taking a stand against hate and stand up for what is right. Thank you all for reading with me today. I will see you tomorrow for more great books. Thanks for watching.